Hey everyone, this is Jono from Veracity with another video in my video series. This one, a getting started topic, specifically on some helpful LRS tools and links. And you can access these right from the LRS, but I will also put some information in the description for this session so you can get them there as well. Let's go right into a demo. Okay, this is the LRS that we have been using for the last few demonstrations. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see a tools menu, and that's where we're going to get to most of this stuff. Now, in some previous videos, I've covered how some of these things are used, so some of these will be familiar, and I'm not going to go into many details on each one of the tools. I just want to show you that they're here and available for your use. So in the left-hand menu, let's click on Tools, and we'll just go top to bottom. So first, xAPI wrapper. This is a JavaScript file. It was created by the ADL Initiative. If you're doing some programming in JavaScript and want to abstract any complexity of doing xAPI, you can check out their documentation on how it works. Again, it's adlnet.gov. I'll put it in the links. As well as a link to the wrapper itself. One of the things that you have to do with the wrapper is you have to configure it on where to send data. In this case, we're in the Learner Portal demo, and I have one access key here called default. If when I click on xAPI wrapper, click on that default, it's just going to pop up a window here. I can go ahead and download, and what that just did is it pre-configured the wrapper to track to this particular LRS. So now if I include that in some content that I'm using, it'll automatically come here. In the real world, providing hard-coded credentials in a file like that, not the best idea, but to get started and do some testing and some development to learn how things work, that's a great way to get started, where you can just get a wrapper, it's pre-configured, it's ready to go, and you just start using it. Again, I'll provide some additional details on what the wrapper is in the description of this video. Next thing, statement validator. This one is stretched out a little bit, but you can just paste in your statements in here and click validate. And here you go. Statement seems correct. Let's take this a little further actually. Let me get out of full screen mode. And I'm going to go back here. And I'm just going to go into, I don't know, just pick any of these. Demo 1. And I'm going to grab a statement. I don't know. How about we'll do one of these completed ones. So I'll copy that statement back into the statement validator. Paste that in here. Actually, some of these things are not xAPI. Let me get rid of them. There we go. Those are additional elements added on by the LRS. I'll also get rid of stored, and I'll get rid of authority. All right. And now I have done something wrong. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now I just have a regular statement in here. If I validate it, you'll see the statement seems correct. Let's break this a little bit. We know that one of the fields in actor's mbox, what if we put ABC on the end of that mbox and said validate? Okay, we'll get information here about my actor is not of the correct format. If we fix that and validate, you see we're good again. We could also, I don't know, break something down here. Let's just add a field, I don't know, comma, other stuff equal to some data. And let's validate that, and it's going to say, hey, statement.object is not exactly one of these things. It has an additional property, other stuff. So you see, this is a good place when you're debugging and you're working on your xAPI statements. You can use this as a quick tool just to validate against the xAPI. All right, let's go back to our Learner Portal demo, back to our tools. All right, random statement generator. What this thing will do is generate statements that are conformant to the spec. So like here's one. This one is using a member. If you click on this a couple times, it'll do crazy stuff. Stuff that's allowed by the specs, and you can take and validate any one of these. But if you really just want to see what statements can look like and all the different forms that they can take, you can just keep clicking this and it'll keep generating valid statements. All right, xAPI Lab. We've used this in a lot of videos. Like the xAPI wrapper, when you go to Lab, if you pick an access key, it'll be the access key that Lab uses to track data. And we can just create our user here. We'll use an inbox, test.com. This is my test user I use all the time, Testerson. And I don't know, let's make Testerson completed, this example course. And if we come down here, we see we have this statement. We could edit it right here in line, or we could continue to expand these and add results. Let's say we want to have a scaled score of, I don't know, 0.05. Testerson did pretty well, and they failed, but they completed. And you'll see that the statement gets built right down here, which is great because you can kind of see what happens as you build it in the UI. When you click send statement, it goes right to the LRS. So if I were to come in here and click statements, you'll see the Testerson completed statement that I just added. So it's a great tool for sending sample data, especially if you're doing things like we were doing in the last few videos where we're forwarding statements and changing the data. We just want to send some sample data. It's really useful for that kind of thing. All right, back to tools, xAPI spec. So all the things that we're talking about here in the LRS that have to do with xAPI are defined in this xAPI spec. It isn't for everybody. It is a technical specification, but how do you know what the data format is for xAPI? Part 2 of the spec. How do you know how to send the data around, store data, and get it back? How do you know how to authenticate so you can send data to an LRS? Part 3, data processing, validation, and security. So this is the ADL version of the specification. It is currently draft standard at IEEE, a little different than this, but it's really additive, not many changes. So you can kind of stick with this for now. We'll probably end up changing that link when it becomes a final standard and a draft instead of a draft standard. Okay, that's going to be it for today. Just wanted to share some helpful tools that are part of the LRS and some links where you can get some additional information. Check it out. If you enjoyed this video, click the thumbs up, the like button, or subscribe. Thanks, and have a good one.